what we see more and more is, or many also in the history of World Press Photo, many of the photos that were shot in Africa were shot by non-African photographers that were all Western eyes. Also, if you look at the history of World Press Photo, there's only one African American winner in 60 years, one black photographer. The rest is all mainly white males. There's 4 female winners. So there's a huge disbalance when it comes to diversity. So that's becoming more and more important. So that's why we're working more and more trying to combat this. But it's difficult. It's really difficult. So we are working in Africa, and then I mean the continent, because in different countries, to make sure that indeed they push the stories, because they, like no others, know how to translate the stories of their countries to us. It's not as it was in the past, like, oh, there's something going on in Sudan. No, we send someone for 3 days, we can pay him good money, let him stay in a good hotel, let him take some shots, and then he kind of gets back and publish it somewhere. No, why not call someone who's there? But then it all depends on networks, on also your willingness to change the system, because, you know, changing systems, that's the biggest challenge. Not this exhibition. 2 years ago we had Christopher Vanegas, who won with a picture of a person, or 3 actually, who hanged somewhere in a tunnel. They got killed right in front of a high school at 7 a.m. You know, so all the children were going to see it because the crime scene was still there. So there have been a lot of these photos in our exhibition. Also beheadings, Pedro Pardo, photos with just separate heads. So that was really tough. So it's not necessarily there's no hierarchy in violence or in horror. I mean, there is a limitation in the amount of photos that we can show, because we only have limited prices to give away. And well, it is interesting. It's an interesting question, because there is a lot of refugee-related photos this year. But what you see in the exhibition is what the jury chose. And that's all a human decision, because I mean it's 17 people, but still it's very subjective. Yeah. If you select 17 jury members from Mexico, yeah, it's going to be totally different. But the same if it's 17 jury members from Syria. But that's what we try to do, to make a group that is very diverse. So when it comes to nationality, culture, background, religion, to collect as many as different opinions and views on the photography. But that's really difficult, because it is this Western white thing, and that's something we take into account, and we try to diversify it as much as possible. But that's also an ongoing process, and it's gonna last more and more years. But I'm sure within the next 2-3 years there will be something related to the national problems here again in the exhibition. 2 years ago at the exhibition in a shopping mall in Kazakhstan. And, you know, you go through all the procedures and you go to all the authorities, but you know, you missed someone or not, or the system is just not a good system. So then someone started complaining, like, oh, we cannot show this to the people, and this cannot be in an open place. So then there was a big discussion on to take the exhibition down or not, and then the Dutch ambassador had to be involved, and our director. That was all good in the end, but you know, people. I mean, I think in Mexico the photos that you see are just very real. It's just a direct reflection of reality. If you go to the States, there they are much more, how do you say it, paternalistic? As in, oh, my children cannot see this. Oh, yeah. They can see it if they're 30 years old. And that's a kind of an interesting, same in Canada. They're so protective. In my country it's also more open, because we think it's not, you know, you're not polluting your kid if you show reality. It's just, of course, it's about good guidance and explaining what he or she sees. I've been personally very much focusing on Mexico and World Press Photo, because, you know, since 1989 we've had the exhibition in Mexico City. That's it. Whilst your country is quite big, so there's a lot of people to reach out to. And we think so, or I think that I'm motivated to do this, because when I'm in Mexico City with the exhibition, it's one of my favorite exhibitions, because the people are so interested. And I don't know why that is, and I asked many people why are the people in Mexico City and I hope in Tijuana so interested and so dedicated about learning about the photos. And well, I think, but that's just my personal opinion. I mean, the whole situation here is pretty crap. So that you are all aware of the press freedom situation, it's very bad. And in Mexico City, people are always very glad that we talk about it, that we show it, and that there's just open exhibition, no censorship. This is what you can show, and that's why I'm very happy to be here. And hopefully, the exhibition next goes after Mexico City to Guadalajara, León, more and more and more, because that's what we try to do.